Hello everybody, welcome.
Speak to the wind.
Today, I'm excited about this program. And I took notes because I didn't want to count on the computer working or not working. Okay, welcome everybody. You know, when I was 8 years old and Hitler came and I began to believe that it's my job to tell people that other things exist as well, that we don't give up hope. And what's been happening in politics lately made me realize that that job has to begin again. And today I'm just going to speak of the people who balance the world. Years ago, I remember in Reader's Digest, there was one of those wonderful little articles about a little boy coming home and crying and saying to his mother, "So-and-so hit me or hurt me." And she said, "Quickly run out and do something good, because it's your job to balance the world." So this vacation trip of 1 week gave me the balance I needed into people that I met. Years ago, we had a timeshare in Hershey, New Jersey, Hershey, Pennsylvania. And we went there as a family, and it was wonderful. We didn't go there again for quite a while. And when Eric passed away, we really stopped traveling as much as we did before. And we went back to Hershey. And the people I met made me know somebody out there is balancing the world. I'm going to begin first of all because I love food. And my whole family, unfortunately, loves food. The good things are that happened. I lost weight. Why did I lose weight? Because there wasn't the opportunity was there, but somehow we didn't find time. And the first thing that happened, let me put my glasses on because I took notes. And I mustn't miss a certain thing at all. Okay. The first thing was where we ate breakfast. There was a place called, hold on, I'm going to be precise. There was a place called First Watch. How Joni phoned it, I don't know. But here's a post office, and then around the corner of the post office, there's outdoor seating. And when we looked inside, there were so few people there, and the tables were spaced so wonderfully that we didn't have to freeze outside. And we found a table far away from everybody, and suddenly I see on the side of my table, on the counter of my of the chair, a $10 bill, a crisp $10 bill. And when the waitress came to us, I said, "Somebody forgot a $10 bill." And she says, "Oh no, he gives them to the people who come for the first time. He's one of the people who eats here every day." And he calls it paying forward, in the hope and the knowledge that maybe you will pass on the gift of giving to somebody, paying forward. Well, what a welcome. When we went home, now let me just say something about that wonderful breakfast. I decided I would play it by ear and not go wild. And it was oatmeal, steel-cut oatmeal, with other things. And I ordered that, not knowing that on top of that oatmeal there would be tons of strawberries and blueberries and raspberries. So guess where we went every day? Right? There were also eggs and other things. But I'll talk about people and food, okay? And when we got home, I said to Joni, I'd love to draw his face and give him the drawing. But on the other hand, that would take more time. It takes time. And I don't know if he will have time to pose. Why don't I just give him a drawing? And Joni said, well, then don't give him one of people. And she looked at the drawings I had brought, and there was one we had done from a window when we lived upstate of 2 deer, beautiful deer with trees in the background. So we took that with us, and we got there a little bit late the next day, and he wasn't there anymore. And we gave it to the waitress and said, would you give it to him when he comes the next time? I said, thank you. And she said, of course. And we ate, and I don't remember if it was that day or the next day. When I got there, yes, he came over, and he said, thank you. And we said, thank you for what you had done. And he said, I always do that. And he said, and he began to talk. And he told us about having served in the war. And suddenly he just spoke and told us about his life and what he does. And I said to him, and I learned something at that moment. I said to him, I want to give you the drawing, but I really had wanted to draw you and give that to you. And he said, go ahead, do it. I'm not used to that kind of timing. I always do it secretly. And if somebody does pose, I do so many details that it takes forever. But this was different. I saw him differently. And we'll talk about that. Because I'm learning to see magically instead of magic. And I have to explain it. But I was filled with so much happiness that somebody like that hands out money to strangers so that they will do the same thing. And I got him immediately. I did not bother with shadows or details, but I got the structure immediately. And I gave it to him. And I said, Joni, that never happened before. Not that quickly. And she said, because you saw him differently. And then when we went to pay, and he left, and when we went to pay, the waitress said, oh no, he already paid for you. And that was my introduction to the balancing the world. Because Joni suddenly remembered that once somebody paid our toll, and after that, we always paid the toll for the people in back of us. And they would beep as they went back when they left. And we felt so good. Toll in those days was not gigantic. But it created more joy in the people for whom suddenly the toll person said, the people before you just paid for you. And that it's possible to change the world for somebody with paying forward. And after that, somehow or other, if anybody wants to make a fortune, invent a door which opens for people with canes, wheelchairs, or weary feet, because doors are heavy. And I found out when I would open, I found out you do it with your hips. You hold the door, you push. Let me show you. Let me show you.
Here.
Yeah, thank you. It's good to have a son doing this. Okay, see here you are with this. And you have a handle and you can hold it, right? And then you go like this. You wedge open the door. And the wheels allow it. But then there is that door, and it is always heavy. They make doors with weights in them. And so you put your hip this way, and the next thing you know, somebody's opening the door for you. The first one that happened was in the parking lot. A young girl jumped out of her car and said, "I'll hold the door for you," and held it. I never missed somebody stopping by and saying, "Can I help you?" And I would say, "Yes, thank you." And why are doors so heavy? No, there was one, okay, there was one place that kept doors open, because why should they be heavy? My doors in my home are a joy to open and close.
Eileen is cracking up. Lots of laughing faces. Yes.
Paula, when you hurt your foot, didn't you wish that the doors would be lighter? Okay, so the next lesson about human beings being wonderful was those doors. But years ago I fell and I broke my right shoulder and I broke my right hip. And I remember that the city was closed to me because there were no curbs. You could not get it if you had a wheelchair. The curbs blocked you from life. Now, wherever I go, at the end of the sidewalk, there is a curb which is smoothly going into the road. And so I want somebody out there to be an engineer and to put little things on a keychain so that you go like this and the door allows somebody with a cane or somebody with a swollen foot or somebody with a wonderful four-wheeler like mine to go through. Hurry up and invent it, okay? Okay, now let me go further.
Should I share feedback?
Yes.
Okay. So, let's see. Okay. Sandy sends us love. Julie is watching. Ed Weedman is watching. Janine is watching. And Janine says, "Hi, Hetty. Hi, everybody." And Amy Lauren is watching. Eileen says, "Hi, Hetty and Ken. Just arriving. Good to see your gorgeous, magical face." And Kent Almquist
from Sweden
says, "Hi, Hetty." Tammy Smith says, "To see magically instead of seeing magic."
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
So you were going to go back to that. I'm just reminding you.
I would like to.
Yeah. And John Terracuso says, "Hugs from California." And Dory says, laughing out loud, tell her there is such a door, mostly at hospitals, and the doors are heavy so that the wind doesn't smash them open. And Paula is watching. And those are the comments.
Okay.
But do you want to say something about magic
Yes.
versus magic?
Yes. And then let me go back to the magic first. Okay. I cannot accept things without giving something back. Again, about Dory, she came up with an explanation. When I said that everything in the world is made so that for every negative there is also a positive. For every positive there's also a negative. And that if I keep on doing good things for people, like the paying forward of that man, and now paying the toll. If you keep on doing it, it's like establishing, I love that sentence, establishing a bank account with the universe. If you don't put anything into it when you want to withdraw, nothing comes out because you hadn't put anything in. So the givers are the receivers, and the takers lose because there's no bank account. Think of the bank account that man created with his $10. Okay. About the magic. Carl Schwartz, she offered to drive me anywhere because I can't drive. This is my carriage, but it'll go just so far. And I said, yes, but you'd have to let me give you something. What if I give you an art class? I think I spoke about that last week, so I won't embellish it. But I realized teaching art is not teaching lines and shadows. It's teaching seeing. And I'm going to begin to teach people how to see. How to see what? How to see the truth that seems to escape us so easily. The magical feelings of what we as humans have also produced. This miracle, my iPad, Kent came from Greece because he uses this and found me. How did he find me? I was doing a painting of the plaza. It just so happens he's a brilliant photographer. He catches mood. And I was painting, and at this magic moment when I saw a branch on this side which allowed me to balance the Plaza Hotel. And I was like this, and he snapped that moment. And Kenny, could you just bring that picture so I could say what Ed does?
Oh, yes.
Because Ed is another brilliant photographer. And if he gives me permission, next time I'll tell you about something he and I might do together. Okay. The only reason I don't wear a beret normally is because it sort of says, hey, look at me, I'm an artist. And I am an artist who isn't one. Artists are supposed to drink a lot, sit in bars a lot, and I don't. And I hide in corners where nobody sees me. Okay? Now, put my glasses on because I took notes of things I must talk about.
Do you want to say something about the difference between magic and magically?
Yes, yes, yes. Magic is a finished object. But when you see magically, it's not harsh. It's transforming. When I look, Kenny, would you give me one of the drawings? Thank you. When I first began to work, could you hold? Mm-hmm. When I first began to work in Harvey Wiesenberg's world with people who had disabilities, I went through him. I was able to go into institutions, and I did this man, and I thought to myself, that's not how I want to see him. I want to see into him and see the magic that made somebody brave enough to be with many disabilities and still go on every day. And I mentioned this already, but to me it's like the main learning I did when I worked as a volunteer with the Savage family, with the son Craig. And they had a problem because he couldn't move his tongue. And the doctor said he's got to move his tongue. And when I got there, they said, we found out how to do it. We put peanut butter into his mouth. And he loved it. And so he used his tongue to lick. And I have found with people who have anything which makes life difficult, they invent their own ways. And that's what I call magically. And from them I have learned and will continue to learn. I want to, my daughter was able to achieve something for her work that was absolutely wonderful. And I said to her, how did you do it? And she said, and I put down wonderful quotes over here. The goal is to set your eye on the mountain. The path is negotiable. The goal is not. It doesn't matter how you get there, but you get there. And I think that's true of people who are told, you can't do this, you can't do that. And then I spent a lot of time in Starbucks. Kenny, I don't know if we'll have time for the Starbucks, but let me just say this, and then let me show Starbucks. Okay. I spent a lot of time at Starbucks drawing because for the first time in my life, I wasn't going to see these people again. And I could draw them because they wouldn't know I'd be drawing them. And I'll show you that later. And if I can't, I'll finish it tomorrow. But at Starbucks, there's a sign. I have decided to stick with love. Hate is too great a burden to bear. Martin Luther King. And I wrote that down. And I thought, I need to carry this. And now there is a magic world where through Facebook and this, I can spread it too. And then what I learned from Dory, who always does things in a way I have to learn. She does things correctly. Once, She gathers everything together, and before she does it, she's got all the information there that she needs. Like, she doesn't say, oh, did I take the key or not? Which I do. And what she says, always double check items needed before you leave. She doesn't say check, she says double check. I'm going to learn. I haven't yet mastered it, but Dory, I will. What Joni and I found out, I guess Starbucks will have to wait.
Yes, and there's a lot of comments too.
Okay, this I have to say because it's so important. We had some big hassles when neither of us checked with the other what we really wanted. We just assumed we knew, and we didn't ask. So we were each in the wrong place at the wrong time. I'll tell you about that another time. But we decided nobody knows what we need if we don't tell them first. In other words, Kenny just asked if he could read the comments. If he wouldn't have asked, I would have forgotten. Please read them. I love them.
Oh, they're so beautiful. Okay. So Tammy Smith says to see magically instead of seeing magic. Beautiful. Oh, right, I read these already. Paula says, we love you, Hetty and Ken. And Tammy says, it's teaching seeing, yes. And she says, and be broke a lot. Amy Lauren says, I say this with the utmost of sincerity. I don't think I know another person who is more grateful than for all the beautiful things in the world, both the obvious and not so obvious, the tangible and intangible, than you, Hetty. You are such a delight to listen to.
Thank you. Okay.
Lots of hearts, lots of hearts.
Okay.
Yes.
And never think the worst until you find it out. There's more to tell you, but I've got to show you. Thank you. I had wanted so badly to go back to the world of just going into a place where nobody knows me and sketching. And I said to Joni, I need a bag of some kind where it's not obvious what I'm going to be doing. And she said, get yourself a little backpack. And if you have a backpack, you can carry your pencils and you can carry things. Well, I looked for backpacks, but for me, at 93 years old, just finding the backpack, putting it over my shoulders, taking it off would take even longer. I couldn't. But I found this. I found a purse where I could put everything in, even a mask. And even candy. And I have to show you what I did. I went to Starbucks. And I sat down where nobody would see me. And I began. Okay? I'm sitting here. Next week, you'll see this. Nearly done. If we have time, I'll even draw a little today with you. No, we don't have the time. Okay? Now, this man in the corner here, 3 days later, because I went every day, I ended up, instead of shopping or eating or anything, I sat at Starbucks. And then Oh, by the way, this is Carol, the beginning of Carol, who's going to be here in this painting. In other words, you grab what you can get. She's coming this week, and I can put her in the painting. Now I'm going to show you what I'll be working on all week because I've done so much of it already. This is how I spent the vacation. It's Starbucks. It's not finished, but it will be, because people were so kind at Starbucks. I spilled a cup of hot water, and immediately the woman at the table next to me jumped up and grabbed napkins and began to wipe it. And then the people behind the counter came to help me and to comfort me because I felt so bad. And then I suddenly thought, magically, I'm so glad it wasn't coffee, because water doesn't stain. About the thinking magically, I would like to give you that before you go. See the awesomeness of everything. Who invented a chair with wheels? Who invented an easel to put this on? Humans did. What materials are waiting for us? For somebody to discover how to put them together and make a door open. When you see a person and you don't know what is in their brain, and you know miracles are within them, see the person that way. And I love you all. And thank you.
Oh, wait. I have to read comments.
I'd love it.
Okay. Sandy says, Ismail and I are so grateful to have you in our lives. And Dory says, what? No ice cream in your bag? And Amy says, Hetty, stop being so adorable. Even Candy, leave some adorable for the rest of us. You are eating up all the adorable.
Keep producing more.
And Amy said, Dory Lee, don't underestimate her. It may well be inside that bag too. And Eileen says, thanks for sharing the insight and love tonight.
Good night.